What is going on, guys? We are back with a new series on the channel. We are doing a fantasy draft relocation franchise, of course. If you guys have seen these in the past on the channel, they've always been a lot of fun, and I hope I can keep you guys around for this entire process. It's going to be so much fun, and I always love these because they're such a challenge. And speaking of challenge, the reason why it's a fantasy draft and a relocation franchise is a lot of things happen. Of course, we know the NFL, they weren't super happy with the fact that they couldn't have fans in the stadiums. It obviously hurt a lot of teams' revenue, and I'm almost certain that pretty much every single team was operating at a loss, technically due to contracts and all that. And then obviously you're missing a lot of money. They added an extra game. They added playoff games, extra playoff games because of the extra game. It's still not enough. The league is operating at a loss. If it doesn't turn around soon enough, the league will have to disband. And of course, every single player, every single coach, owner, everything agreed. They all agreed the only way to keep interest going is to just flip the league upside down, and that is to just completely change every roster. However, the Giants owners, who've already had some issues with the team over the last decade, they're just done. They're just done. They sell the team. Of course, the league is the one to pick it up because everyone hears about the league kind of disbanding. Who wants to buy a team for a league that may not even exist? The NFL takes that team, assuming that somebody along the line would want to pay for it, and of course, nobody does. But then comes Freddie Dingler Sr. saying, you know what? I'll buy the team, but I want it for a third of the price. They agree. However, they hit us with some stipulations. They say, you know what? You want this team for that low. You're going to have some bad picks. You're not going to be able to choose evenly like every other team across the board. We may have all agreed, but you weren't here. You bought a team for way less than every other owner here. At least the value is worth now, and you could still turn a huge profit, but you're going to be doing so with a tough task ahead, and that, of course, is only being able to select players that really aren't as great as the others. We aren't going to just completely screw you over, they said to us. We're going to have a couple of picks, some decent ones. We get to choose one player at all, any player we want that's available every 10 rounds. They said just to make sure it's fair, it's defense, offense, defense, offense until the draft ends, but only once every 10 rounds. The rest have to be approved by us if we feel like, sure, you can find some gems. They might have crazy potential. They might become some of the best in the league. Fair enough. That's on you to do that, but they have to be approved by us. So, of course, basically, they kind of just gave us a list of players that are not super great. So, of course, we're going to get into that, and we are going to hopefully make as good of a team as possible. I have no idea what pick we're going to have, and I'm just excited, to be honest. Yeah, we're still, if the league sticks around, going to turn a profit. We're going to do well. It's just, where are we going to go? I mean, like, it's rough, man. It is rough, but there's nothing to it but to get into the fantasy draft. By the way, for the debut of the new series, we're going to hit a like goal. If we can get 200 likes on this video before tomorrow, I will upload episode 2, which will be all of preseason. And yeah, maybe if you're down there, maybe leave a subscribe, hit the bell notification if you're new, or, whatever. Also appreciate you guys watching if you aren't new. Appreciate the continued support. Let's get on to it. Once again, every 10 rounds. So we're going to start this draft with pick number 26. TJ Watt goes. We obviously know that the defense is the first pick we are allowed to take. This is realistically where you would have obviously wanted pick 1, so you could have taken any defender you want. I feel like they honestly rigged this as well. They absolutely rigged this as well. Of course, you do see guys like Aaron Donald, Stephon Gilmore, Chandler Jones. Okay, so yeah, we kind of got scammed here. We should have had so much better options, and they gave us pick 26. That is harsh, but there's still a lot of talent. You have Budda Baker here, very, very good. A little lacking in the zone coverage, but insanely fast. Really good hit power, catchings off the chain. Jamal Adams, maybe not the greatest in coverage, But, well, 90s? Oh, hello? Excuse me. Why don't I want Jamal? Jamal's up there. I know he's a safety, but that man flies around. You can put him anywhere you want. You also have Marlon Humphrey, one of the league's best cornerbacks. Jumping's not great, but I do enjoy a good Marlon Humphrey, yep. Micah Parsons. That is a name and a half. Of course, 87 overall, having himself a year, very fast. You can kind of play him where you want. This is almost the perfect pick, knowing that you can do whatever you want. Do you want him rushing? Do you want him playing coverage? I think that's like the #1 forefront runner right here. Joey Bosa, but he's kind of on the slower side. I'm not really liking the speed there. Micah Parsons is really, really intriguing me here. There's some very good names here. But can you really choose a youngster like Micah? I mean, I suppose if there's ever going to be a guy to choose based on morale, you'd have to assume he'd be down for the challenge more than any of these players. And that is a huge part of this as well. So, I don't know, Micah Parsons as our very first selection. We only get 10 choices of, about 5 choices every 10 rounds of very good players. So, I don't know. This is challenging. There's some really good players here. It's a tough one. I would have absolutely went TJ Watt. He's not there. Brian Burns is the selection. We now move on to the next pick. They said it's a reach. You know what? We're okay with that. So now, of course, it's a pretty simple stipulation. Pretty much anyone under 70 overall is free game. There's a lot of good talent. I mean, there's typically going to be a lot of younger guys here. Guys that maybe wouldn't even have gotten a chance under normal situations. So as much as it's like a bad thing, it's also, there's a silver lining to it. So we don't absolutely hate it around here. Of course, this selection is an offensive player. Under 70 can literally be anyone. So if there is like a really good lineman there that's under 70, he's got a high ceiling. He's just, maybe not the highest overall right now, we can take him. If only Tommy was 1 overall lower, that would have been so clutch, dude. Of course, quarterback is a very important position. Unfortunately, Jordan Love is already gone, believe it or not. Very high selection there for him. Kellen Mond's really the best choice that I can think of. I mean, there's maybe Cole McDonald. Kellen Mond, very young, once again. That's kind of the staple of this thing is... Obviously, that's kind of where your lower overall players are going to be going. Players that aren't maybe as wanted. He's not great, but there's things to work with. Short route accuracy, throw power. If we get a good run game going, maybe he can develop slowly into a starting caliber quarterback. Slow at the start, God tier at the end. We'll see. Kellen Mond, as of right now, is the selection. We had to fight him on this one. They allowed it, though. Maybe a little raw on the power move, but a lot of potential for the ET. Added him to the squad, 21 years old. We're going to go with a lineman with this pick, Ben Barch. This pick, we're going to make a super sneaky pick. Obviously super raw. The injury and toughness worries me, but if he can stay healthy, he can be a sneaky good player. Caden Stearns, super fast. We wanted to go in Nwangwu, but they knew, even though he technically fits the stipulations, that he is blazing fast, and that speed like that is a complete game changer. I don't know how they're going to feel about the wide receivers, but I'm not really sure what to go with then. Like, will they even allow us to have Darrington Evans? Because he's pretty fast, too. I mean, this is just completely unfair, to be honest. Javian Hawkins, maybe 21. I mean, he's fast enough. He's decent. 67 trucking and his speed and all. It's not terrible. If Kylan Hill was a little bit faster, they probably wouldn't even let us have him, but he would be kind of sick. Good trucking, good stiff arm, juke moves there. Change directions 83. It's not great, but I'm willing to take him. Of course, we are on our offense here, so obviously we couldn't go outside of offense, and there's a lot of guys that just aren't under 70, so we can't even select from wide receiver yet. I mean, let's look at wide receiver right now. The lowest over, there's a couple in. Oh, now they want to show up. Of course, now they want to show up. Not that they would let us freaking have Schwartz anyways. See, Marlon Davidson's kind of like a sneaky pick here because he's star, but his strength is so bad. Like, it's just, do you even want him? We're doing it. We want the big man, Tyler Shelvin. Another guy that's not really good at pass rush, but he's a big fella. This is the team that we're hoping The big fellas stop the run. Brian Burns is the main man getting pressure. I know they can double, triple team him, but hopefully he's just so good it doesn't matter. And even though he is fast, they allowed it because he's a smaller guy. We convinced them that, we're just going to probably make him a return man, but I don't know, just saying. I mean, what are you going to do? Take him away from us after the draft? It's a little too late. Not they would have let us have him anyways, but Kelvin Joseph would have been so clutch. And I don't know why they have this idea that this guy is anyway decent at all. They said no to him. I guess he's fast, but I don't know. The guy just doesn't even seem like recognizable, right? Like he's just some random guy. I don't know why they wouldn't let us have him. And even though I convinced them Josiah Scott's basically the same as that Guidry guy, if that's how you say it, I guess they allowed us Josiah Scott, 5'9". Maybe not as good, but, you know, pretty fast in his own right. A little younger. Maybe we get him longer. Who knows? But now here's for the big stuff. Now, we already have a quarterback, but we didn't know if there was going to be anyone halfway decent there, and of course, there is not. So I don't really mind that we kind of went for Kellen Mond. Any player at all is on the board, but as you can see, there may not be that many great players here. Maybe we could have went with one of these running backs. We still can. We'll think about it. Wide receiver, you know, you have a guy like Odell Beckham. He's getting up there. He's not super great. There are some wide receivers there. Mooney, Higgins, Ayuk, Hardman, Chase Claypool would be a great name. Chase Claypool is super high on my list right now. I'll put it that way. What about tight end? Maybe offensive lineman is still there. This is a tough choice. So, tight end, anyone decent there? Nobody. Pat Freiermuth, star development trait. Good possession guy. Is he really that much of a difference maker, though? I don't know. Looking for a good run blocker. He's, you know, kind of meh. Down the list, you do have Albert O. You can't get him on any other ways. Too high of an overall. Do you really want to waste your pick on a lineman? There might be some decent guy. You got Darisaw still there. I feel like you need a playmaker, and I'm really pointing towards Chase Claypool. This is a tough one. I really like Chase Claypool a lot for this selection, but then again, you have a really good lineman in Creed Humphrey there. It'd be really helpful for the run game, like we said, and then again, is Kylan Hill the guy you want as your premier back? Maybe you go for Dobbins or something. I mean, there's options. I mean, I really like Claypool for this selection. He's fast. He's big. You can move him to tight end if you end up finding that you have other wide receivers that are very good instead of him. I just like him a lot here. 23, 6'4". I mean, this guy is a man of men. Chase Claypool is our selection. So we have Brian Burns and Chase Claypool for our 2 out of basically 5 selections. They also hit us with like the most useless allowance ever. We can have any player we want that's 30 or older if they're under an 80 overall. Maybe earlier in the draft perhaps, but at this point it's completely irrelevant. There's really nothing you can do with that. We're going to go with a guy that, you know, maybe a little injury prone, but overall, a very big fella. Maybe even makes a move over to safety, but Ifeatu Melifonwu, 67 overall, starter out the gate. I mean, I actually kind of like that guy. I feel like he has a lot of potential. Once again, round 30, we could make a play at running back if we wanted to, but I am still just kind of paying attention just in case. Do I really want my starting running back to be Kylan Hill? I don't know. Now, even though he's slow, this is going to be our second choice for offensive lineman, Solomon Kindley. We can only keep these guys at guard, so that was our last choice, really. He'll be our new right guard, most likely, with Barch being the left guard. Starting to really regret paying for this team. Buying this team has not been a good decision. Limiting us hard, but at the end of the day, I think we can still turn a profit. I still think there's a lot of potential with this squad. Thaddeus Moss has... I mean, I know we're picking from a rough group of players, but man, some of these players are a lot worse than one would have thought. Zach Davidson, this guy kind of looks like a fun player. We were waiting for this gem for some time. The man's here, Baron Browning. Basically the heart and soul of this defense. And I know we have Brian Burns. I still believe by that. I still believe that statement. I really do. We're not 100% sure who our running back is, or the starting running back, but Ben Mason, a young fullback. I mean, you're going to start somewhere. You might as well go with a young guy that has a lot of time to develop. Huge potential here. Once again, very raw, but huge potential. Joseph Osai gets selected for the defense. Technically have our edge. Once again, we can still take players that are over 30 if they're under an 80 overall. So when it gets desperate, maybe, you never know, maybe that's where we go. I don't exactly know what to think of this guy. We had our eyes on him. I think we're going to grab him, though. 6'7", decently fast, a big fun target to throw to. Another small guy, but fast. Is he the choice? Clay Brooks, maybe a little bit older than I would have thought, to be honest, but still not a bad choice. We have some size. Maybe we don't. I don't know. And this selection is going to be another linebacker. Cox, a very sneaky little gem, but 24 once the relocation has finished. That's a tough one. Yeah, it's not looking super great for our chances of getting a different starting running back in pick 30. Round 30 is it's a bit far away from now. I don't know what to do here. I mean, Kylan's kind of cool, but I don't think he's got... Does he have what it takes to be that guy? I don't know. And we did find a sneaky little star development trait. Lucas Niang. Once again, another guy that'll be like 24. A couple of these guys will be 25. Starting the relocation, really the beginning of this thing. So, I mean, it's kind of a tough one. I believe we have to wait one more round for our actual selection of defense. It would also be kind of smart to maybe look ahead a little bit to see if there's anyone, any specific position that we might be able to actually grab with our choose any player situation. We can also use either of offense or defense to select a fullback, kicker, or punter. I think we're good on fullback, but punter or kicker I wouldn't completely rule out. He might not be able to catch very well, but 22 years old, decently fast. I don't mind it. I think that's a good selection. Marco Wilson. Once again, how many of these guys are actually going to start? Once this fantasy draft is over, there's no limitations. Obviously, not every team's going to want to trade with us, but if we found a team that wants to, you might be able to make a trade. Maybe a couple of position fixes. Who knows? Of course, our draft picks also probably will be valued pretty damn high, so overall, I mean, we have options, right? There's definitely some options. And I really wasn't thinking of him as a decent option, but when you really look at the talent around here, at least the talent they'll allow us to have, Amari at least has potential because he's young. I mean, obviously Anthony Schwartz is just staring us right in the face, but outside of Schwartz, who we can't take, I mean, there's really not many options. Like, I'll go over him again, even though this is our freebie choice. Seth Williams just showed up. He actually would be kind of an intriguing prospect, 6'3", kind of like a Chase Claypool counterpart. But yeah, there's not a whole lot here. Like Prosh maybe is 24. I mean, this is this is not going how I would expect it to. Of course, now we can choose anyone we want here, and it could go down as far as possible, right? Like we can take players that are 70 overall if we just like the way their dev looks, perhaps. And honestly, I'm looking around at the talent and I'm kind of thinking maybe I do use this pick on a kicker. At least we have like a god tier kicker down the line. I mean, otherwise we're kind of just stuck with some random kicker anyways. You can get, Tucker. I mean, I suppose if he has himself in fantasy, he'd love to join us, but realistically here, I mean, you're not looking at a whole lot to work with. Sucky part is on offense, if, we did have this as a choice here, A.J. Dillon's still there, Ronald Jones, Elijah Mitchell would be a super fun player as well, obviously. I mean, there's some names here, Michael Carter, Trey Sermon, Hubbard, Gainwell, but we can't have them. We just can't. So it's defender or a special teamer. Do I really want to go with a kicker? I really don't think I do. You might think I'm a nutcase, but Jack Fox, I think, is looking pretty good. What about Tucker, though? I know Tucker's old, but I believe he's the only guy now with Superstar. So, even though he's 31, I'm going to take the best kicker in the league with Justin Tucker. Screw it. Best value, I suppose. All the other players were just awful. Just awful players. And we did say it already. Seth Williams is one of my choices. I'm going to take him. And once again, we love the value for the big fella. Quinton Bohanna might even have moved himself up to the number 2 spot. Even slower than Shelvin, but bigger and younger. I mean, we got some big guys on the D-line, just not super great. We're hoping one of these guys could just become Vince Wilfork, who even he wasn't that big. We're going to take another tight end, backup tight end, most likely Kenny Boa. Once again, we don't know who the hell the damn starters on this team is. The only starters are obviously the guys that we chose for our choose any player selection and the quarterback, really. And hell, even that, maybe not. Who knows? Because once again, the first year is going to be simmed. The draft, I would imagine we're going to have some decent picks. You know, a lot of players could be shaken up, so we'll see. And of course, 23, you know, I'm not the youngest, but Spencer Brown, a very nice pick here, will be playing the left tackle spot. Or vice versa, whatever. As long as they don't move outside of tackle, they're not going to yell at us. The only other way is injury, which, you know, hey, I'm not going to purposely get anyone hurt, but, you know, if someone, you know, just saying. Cameron McGowan, 21 years old, of course. The age definitely plays a huge factor in this because we're not going to really be able to do anything crazy for many years to come, so the younger they are, the better they are for us. You know it's bad at quarterback when you don't even have to go backwards. You don't have to click up first. You can literally just go down. He's a 72. He was my choice for a center, and he's gone. Once again, we're forced to take an actual center, so, you know, this is why we're really hoping one of those guys were there. Nick Harris, I mean, it's just not... This is not what I'm looking for here. 70 overall for Myers. 23 anyways. I guess it really wouldn't have really buttered my biscuit too much, but yikes. This is unfortunate. Trey Hill, super slow, not really redeeming factors. I guess Nick Harris is the choice. His team is not really worth $250 million, I'll tell you that. Or 1/3 of a billion, whatever you want to call it. We're going to take a safety, Tyree Gillespie. Kind of lucky because our safeties, it was really just, you know, Stearns out for a while there. So, you know, a little bit of a scary one, but we made it out. And we did get the green light on Javian Hawkins. Kind of the front runner for the starting running back spot. Of course, some of those, you know, stamina, toughness, and all that. A little scary, but, you know, a lot of potential. A lot of potential. And we're going to use one of our 80 unders. We get 3 of them, and Patrick Peterson's going to be my choice. 80 under, 30 years old plus, still got just enough speed, even just for one more season. That's all you really need. And now we're back on offense with any selection we want. Could go up and get like an actual established quarterback like Roethlisberger, but honestly, by the time we even got to get anything going, he'd be gone. We're going to quickly go over to running back, but once again, as we expected, around 30, you know, all the selections are gone. We do have fullback still there, but we can also use that anytime we wanted earlier on, so I don't know. Wide receiver, any name still there. You can see we're already down into the 70s. It's not going to be the case. Tight end, maybe. I mean, it's just going to be all old players, isn't it? And we're actually going to cash in on Alex Mack. I know he's a 1-year... do I want him? He's kind of like a 1-year type player. Yeah, we're going to do it. Alex Mack, he's a super good player. Can help that offensive line tremendously. Center was also the position we lacked on the most out of this, so definitely not terrible. Sean Wade, kind of a fun selection here. I actually really like him here. He's not bad. A lot of, you know, things you need to develop on most of these guys, but still, some core things you got to like, and that's kind of what we're selecting for. Cole McDonald, the backup quarterback who could compete for the starting job. This guy is a backup safety. Oh my god, he's 85 speed. Brandon Steffens, backup. Young guy, Blake Prohl. Ooh, here's a sneaky one. Hamza Nizreladine, decently fast. Could be a projected starter right out the gate. Backup lineman, Walker Little. Shaka Tony. At this point, we are probably just selecting players that won't be on the team more than a couple of years. But just in case somebody shines, you might as well, right? Another big boy tight end, Colby Parkinson. And we're going to use another one of our old player picks, Earl Thomas. He is 32. He's normal development rate, but he's going to be our strong safety, believe it or not. I actually wonder if Kendrick Green was there the last time we had a choice with the center. I'm going to be so mad if he was. That's a huge sell if he was actually there. And screw it, we're going to use our defensive pick on use check. Of course, we said that fullback, kicker, punter can be used anytime for your choose any player. And at this point, I'm not even sure how he's there still. And more importantly, why we would use it anywhere else. There's just no other value. Running back Nighthawks. The big man Charles Snowden on the edge. Hoached. He's 23, but Fioco is still there. I've seen him a few times. I pass on him every time. I want him, whatever. Slow but young, Trill Williams. Look, this guy's off the screen. He's insane. And he's young. I mean, I'm pretty much forced. My hand's forced. At this point, the players are actually so bad that I don't even want to draft anymore. Can I just, like, leave with what I've got? I know we're almost there, but just, like, let me go now, please. Thank you. Never gotten his fair shake. Tyree Cleveland's the choice. I think this was the original big man that I used to use on the Steelers, I believe. I can't remember, but Dan McCullers. What a throwback. Isaiah McDuffie, 22 years old, decently fast. I mean, once again, the talent is just, it's just not there. This pick, I believe we're going to be taking a punter because this is our choose whatever you want selection. Jack Fox is still there. He's a superstar. I mean, we've got some good special teams, and we've got a good fullback. What else can you really ask for? All the other positions? Yeah, true. And now that it's round 50, it doesn't matter if we go back and forth or not. I mean, at this point, all these guys aren't even going to be on the team long-term regardless, so you might as well just take whoever because they're probably going to be gone. I mean, look at these talents. They're so bad and they're old. The best combination, bad and old. Michael Jordan. I mean, you got to have the GOAT. And Marquise Goodwin as a return man might not be the worst call in the world, so 74 overall, but he's 30+. Another wide receiver, Darden. And it is officially over. We are coming in with a whopping 69 overall, of course. Some of these players might not even be on the team next year. A lot of the players, more importantly, will be moved around. So maybe we can get to a 70 here, perhaps. But yeah, a lot to work on. And more importantly, can't even use the team really year one. Obviously, if they do well on their own, and maybe we luck out, you know. But yeah, it is a team of misfits. I will say, like I said, the majority of the players holding up this overall it's a bunch of guys that may not be here in the future. Like, Goodwin won't be here, probably. What's his name? Patrick Peterson will likely be gone. Same with Earl Thomas. I mean, we have some potential, but yeah, it is a tough squad to work with. But, I mean, as we were promised, we do have players. It's not like we just completely didn't get a chance to draft anyone, so it's a disaster, but it's our little disaster. And it's official. We have chosen one of the only places that the NFL was really kind of on board with, and more importantly, even though it's a small market, we're actually getting more help financially than most of the other places that were offered, and I feel like this is just a good place for us to set up camp. There is no NFL team here. We can kind of handle that, and I mean, just Baghdad right in the middle. I don't know why I said Baghdad. It is the United States. And as far as the poll went, Nighthawks were the #1 choice. As you can see here, a popular choice online. Of a great logo, of course. Maybe a little confusing with the Ravens, but they seem to be fine. They said, we don't care what your logo looks like. We're better than you anyways. And I mean, we can't really say anything about that. I mean, as of right now, it's pretty factual, but it's kind of up to us to maybe make them eat those words. So the Nighthawks it is. One final step, which, I mean, we don't really have much of a choice. The city kind of forced us into the style, which, you know what? Actually, we have the uniforms, but, I mean, that's already been decided as well. When you know the name of the team, you already know the uniform style, #1. And then, of course, for that stadium, like we said, it's actually not a terrible deal, in fairness. We couldn't go for the big shebang, but we were able to get a decent one. And that's the basic futuristic stadium. We wanted the dome. They didn't let us have it, but you can see almost half the stadium is being funded by the city, so I mean, we're happy with it. Decent seating capacity. It's a pretty big stadium, but obviously it's about half of the price that we wanted, but hey, if it's going to get paid for, kind of out of our pockets, you kind of have to go for it. So there it is. And we can always rebuild later if we actually become a solid team. If not, well, it's the newest landfill, I guess. And as you can unfortunately see, the draft was agreed upon by all the players and the coaches. We drafted some players, but they didn't say anything about re-signing with us. Juszczyk, Jack Fox, even Earl Thomas and Marquise Goodwin all decided, we're not coming back here. We'll take our chances in the open market, and if not, we'll just retire. I mean, obviously, there's a good chance a lot of them do, if not all of them, get contracts with teams with a better chance of winning right away, but yeah, that's a bit of a disappointment. We were kind of coming into this like, hey, we can pay Jack Fox, make him the highest paid punter. He didn't care. He wasn't sticking around. He knows he's going to have to punt around here, so it's not a cozy job. It's a good chance he gets hit more as well. So, yeah, unfortunately, all the veteran names are going to be potentially gone as well, but hey, at least we got some of our youngsters back. So, we didn't expect to have a good season. However, we didn't expect to go 0-17. Now, let's take a look at how we performed on the season. And you could see, obviously, we lost every single game, but we did come close on a few of the weeks. But overall, it was obviously just a losing effort. There's a reason why we didn't show up to many of the games. It's because the team isn't good, and we know it's not good. We're not expecting them to be good. But more importantly, we did have a lot of stuff behind the scenes, really focusing on the draft. And, I don't want to just excuse this team, but everyone has counted this team out. And honestly, I'm just hoping year 2, this team can actually be at least given another chance after the offseason. Hopefully have ourselves a decent draft, maybe some free agent signings if anyone decides to come here. I mean, there just really wasn't anyone that had a particularly good season at all. Jack Fox, but we already know he's headed out, so that's kind of irrelevant in anyways. So let's just skip right to the Super Bowl, see if we got any dev-ups. Highly doubt it. The whole squad was just uninspired. Honestly, it was just free paychecks for everyone. Other than maybe the quarterback who was just getting pounded, maybe the running back as well, but everyone knew the situation, right? Claypool kind of went down in morale. He's just obviously unhappy. Looking at the defensive side of things, didn't see any dev-ups on offense, but apparently on defense, we see a few. It appears that Jabril Cox went up to star, and Nizraladeen also went up to star, which is pretty nice, pretty clutch. But obviously this team is just so far behind the rest of the league that it's going to take a miracle to even become, maybe even get like 4 wins next season. Results of the Super Bowl between the Chargers and the Packers is the Packers, and you could see we have officially rebranded as the Nighthawks, looking beautiful in purple, and of course getting ready to re-sign some of these guys that maybe hopefully decide to come back and then head right into free agency. Realistically right now, we've kind of just been giving out kind of practice squad-like contracts, just contracts that are really not carrying many, years, much guaranteed, just a little bit, it's a nice little sign. It's either, hey, you go to free agency, maybe never get signed, or you take the $60K guaranteed and maybe make the roster, maybe get to the practice squad. These guys are all kind of in a situation where they don't really get the say-so, they don't really get the choice to go somewhere else. Walker Little with a 3-year, $6 million deal. And pretty much everyone else is kind of just so bad that even we don't want them, which is, probably the ultimate disrespect, but facts are facts. But the problem with the free agent decision, or the fantasy draft decision, is that we probably won't see anyone in free agency. The contracts kind of got split up. Once again, we were talking about how the league was kind of bleeding a bit. Contracts definitely went down quite a bit, so the money, it's a lot of money in the league right now, and yeah, people are just signed up, and there's not really much you can do here. Maybe get a guy like DJ Reed if you really want to put that out there, but someone like him is going to cost you, for us, maybe even 10 per, which, am I really interested in paying 10 per for, a pretty below average player, about average player when we're far from ready? I don't know, dude. I think you kind of just want to save up rather than lock in on a guy that just isn't going to be great anyways. So after a free agency that included signing no new names, we were heading to the draft, and you're thinking, pick 1, where did it go? And that, of course, is answered by, we traded it to the Panthers. We gave them pick number 1 for pick 9 this year, pick 73 this year, pick 12 next year, pick 42 next year, a 4th this, and a 4th next, which is absolutely nuts. Of course, we needed these trade downs because, as you know, the trades with the Bears and the Dolphins don't exist in this universe. because we had to give them back. They don't own those players anymore. They had a redraft, so we were forced to get rid of the picks. Of course, you can see here, though, we have multiple extra picks due to that trade. It's not looking half bad, and next year is going to be really special. But this year, still a chance to do something. Pick 9 could still be very impactful. Number 1 is either going to be quarterback, which I think may be Malik Willis, or it may be Aiden Hutchinson, both very good players. Let's see what the Panthers decide to do, though. And it is Aiden Hutchinson, a guy that they were not going to get. At pick 9, they were going to end up having to go and miss on Aiden Hutchinson, probably miss on Thibodeau, probably miss on Johnson. I mean, they were going to miss on some really good talent. There's no doubt about it. And they decided to go up and grab their guy. The Bills land Malik Willis at number 2. The Jets with Aquanu at number 3. The Dolphins with Neal at number 4. So if we're looking down at where our pick is, which apparently seems to be disappearing, we're looking okay. Ahmad Gardner, I really wish we could have had Sauce. Cross goes, and then at pick 8, Garrett Wilson goes. That could have been a thought of ours. Fix that wide receiving group. Could go and reach on a quarterback right here. Could get Trayvon Walker. Very solid player, obviously, across the board. Great talent. We do have Brian Burns, though. You got Jermaine Johnson still there, so maybe they did have a chance at a decent pass rusher still, but you just never know how those things go. You end up grabbing the best in the class by just moving up. Drake London, super interesting because he's a bigger guy. Jordan Davis, don't overlook Jordan Davis. He's kind of like drafting 2 players if you think about it. Very strong, very fast, very tempting. Very, very tempting. And honestly, I'm actually going to do it. I mean, we could go with a guy like Kyle Hamilton, still pretty good, but it's a little bit on the slower side for my liking. Don't even have him scouted that much. 4.44, that's just not true. He's going to have a lot slower than that, I imagine. But Jordan Davis, I think, is going to be the choice. Mr. Jordan Davis, welcome to the team. Got ourselves a hidden development trait. 6'6", 341-pounder with 76 speed, 78 excel. I'm excited to get to work with this young man. And, of course, we still can make trade-ups. Trayvon Walker might go there. No, it's Drake London. Really tempted to go for Trayvon, and he's going to be in the division. We are going to be looking at a potential absolute mistake by ourselves twice a season for the foreseeable future, dude. Another quarterback off the board to the Patriots, Kenny Pickett. Really debating on quarterback. Of course, we're seeing, a few of them move here. Debating on going for one because Kellen Mond's not the worst player in the world, but more importantly, I just don't see I don't know if these guys are the guys. These quarterbacks, I don't know if these guys are the guys. Also, to think about the fact that we do have a lot of other things missing. Matt Corral's gone. Realistically, with the offensive line we're going to be fielding, if Ritter's not there, and he goes 1 pick before us. But to say if it's not Ritter, it's not Matt Corral, I don't know who it is. And it's going to be no one. I mean, we need somebody fast. If we don't have somebody fast on the offensive line, at quarterback, the offensive line just isn't going to be able to hold up. I think Kellen Mond's your guy. Looking at this pick, though, you could shore up the offensive line. These are kind of the moves that I was looking to do. Grab a running back, grab a wide receiver, grab offensive lineman, positions around a quarterback. So maybe Kellen Mond has a chance to develop, but more importantly, if you do finally get a quarterback, he's not going to just be thrown into the dumpster fire that is this team. Miami's willing to give us 52 with 84 for this pick, and I'm going to do it. We still just have so many needs. There's no glaring player other than maybe Zion Johnson there that we could have grabbed, and of course, that is who they trade up for, so very smart trade up. We're helping other teams. They're helping us. I mean, it's just a group effort. And you know what? He's going to be a raw project, but this is the kind of player this team needs. A guy that you're just banking on the upside, and he's just an absolute freak. Tariq Woolen is going to be the choice. Normal development trait, but 6'4", 97 speed. You just can't teach that. And even though he's a little bit on the smaller side, we're going to go with Sky Moore. We need a wide receiver, and he's the best remaining. 91 speed, 92 excel, and hidden development trait to go with it. Drake Jackson's still here at 9, which is a little bit of a steal. Kind of expecting him super late second, early third, which here we are. So we're going to go Drake Jackson, and he's going to be the opposite edge to Brian Burns. We're going to go with a very fast Channing Tindall here, middle to late third. And he's normal development trait. Definitely a bit fast, or faster than expected, or will be faster than expected. I'm going to raise his speed. That's what I'm trying to get at, okay? And here we're going to go with a great point guard, Chris Paul. Normal development traits. Potential starter out the gate. A little surprised he wasn't hidden, though. Feel like he was on the radar of a lot of teams. And we're going to go with an extra speedy fella, Tyson Anderson, super blazing, 95 speed. We're building a bit of a speed squad. And you can call it crazy, but I'm going to take the punt god here in the 5th round. We just don't have a punter, and yeah, I need one. In the 6th round, we're going to take a little bit of a fast guy as well, Ty Chandler. I don't know if he'll start. Hidden development trait, 91 speed, 92 excel. Maybe he will. That's a bit of a gem. Can't go wrong with a gem. We're going to be moving now to the 7th round. And with this pick, we're going to take another falling player, Cole Turner, the tight end. A little bit slower than I was expecting, but still a solid enough player when you have no one currently. That's decent. All right, we are 70 overall right now, which is still really bad, but this is the draft class we came out with. We came out with 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 players, which is nice. How many of them starters? At least half, I would like to think. Of course, Jordan Davis was a very good pick. Hopefully an immediate guy to just come out and just dominate. Very good block shed. Decent enough power move. That's kind of what you're worried about. Can he develop those moves? He's obviously going to be an anchor for us, and that's what we need. Tariq Woolen, obviously a very fast player. Normal dev, a little bit lower of the overall. Very raw, but once again, insane upside. Sky Moore, the automatic number 2 with that hidden development trait. Looking decently fast, decently elusive, and obviously, hopefully, can develop as a decent deep threat. Of course, Drake Jackson, opposite side, another real nice gem for us. Opposite side of Brian Burns. Of course, a lot of the numbers haven't been fully decided yet. Channing Tindall, very fast. A little undersized, but insanely fast. Once again, the speed, but raw because of that. Paul, we don't want to look at. He's not super great. Tyson Anderson could be a day 1 starter because our safeties were really rough. Once again, another raw talent, but very good with the speed and decent enough zone. Obviously, Matt, the punt god here, with 97 kick power. Chandler, 91 speed. Don't know what his development trait is. I imagine he's star development trait. I imagine Jordan Davis is maybe superstar. Cole Turner, potential starter out the gate. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of job fightings in preseason. Pretty good route runner, not very fast, but once again, still has that potential. Can't lie, though. Desmond Ridder was probably going to be the pick I took with the first pick in the 2nd round, and he was gone, unfortunately. So Desmond Ridder is a Green Bay Packer, so there's a chance we're going to see a lot of him, and it's not going to be fun. And yes, I know, some of the face scans aren't great, or some of the face usages, so we're going to change some of them up, and we'll get right back with you. So we have the squad, at least for now. Nothing's set in stone. As of right now, the preseason Week 1 team is as follows. The offensive line pretty much stays intact with Paul being the starting right guard. The tight end, Zach Davidson, 24 years old, 6'7", has a little bit of speed, a decent bit of catching. He's okay. He's not terrible. Mond, of course, the starter with Glass, the undrafted free agent pickup at number 2, and then Cole McDonald at number 3. Likely to see all 3 stay on the roster, but who will be the actual starter is the question. And then the running backs. Now, the reason why Kylan Hill, even though he's a little bit older, is starting here is because he is the most durable of the backs, ironically enough, and more importantly, he actually has a little bit of dual-style threat ability. He's got some trucking, stiff arm, and juke move. Speed's a little on the questionable side, but great carrying as well. Who knows what happens after preseason, though? Could be Ty Chandler, it could be Javian Hawkins, could even be Jackson here, who is also potentially the fastest of the bunch, so you just don't know. Of course, the fullback is probably the number 1 guy. I think there's like 4 or 5 guys that are locked in. You know, Claypool's number 1, Mason's number 1. Not that it matters. Looking at the defensive side of things, you know, Brian Burns is number 1. Drake Jackson is likely number 1. Jordan Davis is obviously number 1, and then the special teamers. But cornerback number 1 for now is Mr. Patrick Peterson. Just good enough still to start. Maybe teach some of these guys the ropes, as he was obviously a very good corner throughout his career. Tariq Woolen at number 2, Sean Wade at number 3, with Melo Fonwu at number 4. Just because we already have the 6'4" Woolen, you can't really have, I mean, a 6'3" in the slot's a little questionable, but if Melo Fonwu kills it, maybe Patrick Peterson moves to the slot. Of course, does he really have it in him still to be a number 1, number 2 corner? I don't know. Safety, Stearns, I really like him. I like him as a prospect. I think he has a very good chance to be a star for us. Same with Tyson Anderson, kind of getting the same vibes from him. Could just be the Legion of Zoom 2.0. Of course, looking at the linebackers, a lot of potential. You could see 2-star devs with speed, and then Tyndall, the number 1 with some speed. Maybe not set up to be the true middle linebacker, but we're going to see if he can outplay his size and just kill players with his speed. And of course, Jordan Davis, just the anchor on the interior. This man, though, Tommy, kind of almost forced to be the number 2, as the other 2 guys are also kind of nose tackle types, so maybe look for some other DTs. Bohanna, his face kind of showing you what he feels about being number 4. Hopefully he can use his face to get to number 2. That was very sexual harassment in the workplace of me. That's sweet. Of course, like we said, punter, kicker. Of course, kick returner, that's a huge position as well. There are so many fast players on this team that could end up as the starter. Who knows what happens there? But obviously, I'm going to have to call it there, as this episode is so long. I wanted to do preseason, but with the actual fantasy draft, the the relocation, the quote-unquote small free agent kind of market, just looking at the players, and then the draft and moving players around and all that, it's been a pretty long episode, but I'm hoping you guys are excited for this one. I am. I might even be more excited about this series than any of the other relocation series we've done, as I feel like some of the other teams were maybe a little too good. Whereas this one, I mean, you only got a few players that you're like, okay, we're set there. Everything else is really bad. Even as some of the set players like Chase Claypool, I mean, he's really not, I mean, he's a number 1, but he's not built like that yet, right? He still has a long way to go. So this is going to be a journey. Hopefully you guys join me on that journey. Maybe I said it in the beginning of the video, but 250 likes, and we will upload part 2 of this, or episode 2, tomorrow, which would be all of preseason. It's going to be very, very important to get some play time with these youngsters. Once again, a little sus, but week 1 against the Titans, it's an away game as well, is not very far away, so definitely let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Maybe leave a like if you enjoyed. Maybe subscribe if you're new. We do a ton of franchise stuff. And, of course, if you're interested in this series, that's the best way to kind of know when a video comes live. So that's about it. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys come back for next video. But until next video, see ya!